I swear. So we are going to move on to round 7 of 10. We're making it through the day pretty well.
Yep.
It's starting to catch up with me a little bit right now.
It's a good clip. It's a good clip.
We're turning the rounds over pretty quickly. We have Daniel, Gardner, and Simon Sung both playing Blue-White Delver. I'm sure you've seen this before.
Oh, look at this.
They can't play these. They can't play these 0 mana spells fast enough.
Yeah, they actually cannot. They cannot.
What do you have? What do I have? What happens to it?
All right, so we had a immunogenic growth and gut shot exchange there.
Oh, he did not look at his top card for Delver.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, he looked and it bricked.
Okay. Like the way that he drew his card made it seem like he did not look.
I think he gave it a gander.
I have Simon's deck list in front of me, and while this game is taking place, I'll just go over it really quickly. Simon is on the right. He is playing Blue-White Delver, as you guys know. Pretty standard 4 Delver, 4 Snapcaster, 4 Blade Splicer, 4 Restoration Angel. You'll find no Geist of Saint Trapped here. You'll also find 1 main deck Consecrated Sphinx. Everything else is pretty cut and dry. 2 Sword of War and Peace, 1 Dismember, 2 Gut Shots, 4 of the rest, 4 Ponder, 4 Leak, 4 Snags, 3 Probes, 1 Thought Scour. Patrick, over to Daniel's deck.
Pretty straightforward Blue-White Delver list. Yeah, nothing fancy. Dismember, immunogenic growth, you know, Restoration Angel. Nothing. We're not breaking any new ground here.
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly not breaking any new ground here, but I mean, you guys have seen it once. You guys have seen it 1,000 times, Delver Mirrors. That being said, the Delver matchup is rather intricate, and I actually enjoy watching the mirrors quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see exactly what happens here. As Root Chanter's Pike got mana leaked by Simon Sung. Simon's facing down the Delver portion of the game. It's an Insectile Aberration right now, and unchecked, it'll of course kill him. So we're going to have to be able to do something about that. Problem for Simon is that Blade Splicer is a card that his deck is kind of geared towards and geared around, and he doesn't have, you know, it's not a way for him to answer this very well. Vapor Snag will do a decent job of it, and it can't get mana leaked right now.
Yep. So, a Cavern of Souls, we don't know just yet what it got set to. We got an end of turn Thought Scour would appear.
End of turn Thought Scour, it's going to reveal a Sword of War and Peace, so that jig is kind of up. That Cavern of Souls, Patrick, is on Angel, just so that you are aware, kind of making it obvious that there's Restoration Angel coming around here. And we see a Geist of Saint Trapped from Daniel, which you will not find in Simon's deck.
So what do you feel about, I mean, you know, not too long ago, Geist of Saint Trapped was considered to be no questions asked 4 of in the deck, and there appears to be, at least with the decks we see in the room, to be some amount of debate.
Sure.
So,
you know, I've always been partial to Geist of Saint Trapped just because it is so unforgiving.
As we're about to find out right now with this attack.
Yeah, as you can see with this attack, it's super unforgiving with what it does. You know, if this thing goes unchecked for 2 turns, you've basically lost the game. You know, 6 damage at 3 mana is just so much damage. And, you know, this card makes Vapor Snag as powerful as it is. Vapor Snag is a good card, of course, but when you are behind and facing down a Geist of Saint Trapped, it only takes 1 Vapor Snag to really put the game away.
Yep.
Where with Blade Splicer, the difference between 4 damage and 6 damage is a lot of damage.
Yeah. Especially when people are already Phyrexian and Manaing and stuff like that. Like, Geist is often lethal in 3 turns because, well, you cast a Cataxian Probe or Gut Shot at some point, and now you're at 18.
Sure. That 2 life, you know, 2 life may not sound like a lot, but 2 life is huge.
Yep. 20 to 18 when you're getting hit for 6 is a big difference. So he continues to develop his board here.
I mean, no Delver reveal here.
Here comes
we're going to see a Restoration Angel that's uncounterable, so if he has Snapcaster or Snag or anything like that, it's probably going to put this game away. He has Snapcaster Mage. I'm not sure why he had the opportunity to block.
Oh.
Immunogenic Growth.
Sure.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad, and that'll take care of the game. Okay.
To quote James Gates, it's not bad.
It's not bad, no.
It's not bad.
He may not have a Snag in his hand. I know that Simon had cast one, so Daniel may not have. But yes, Mutagenic Growth was very good that game, and that's going to put Daniel up 1-0 against Simon. Pat, as we move into the sideboard games, I know you have Daniel's deck list in front of you. What do we have coming in?
Well, we have a number of options here. We have 2 copies of Timely Reinforcements. I know there's a lot of debate about that card in the mirror match. If you're going, like, do you want it all the time in the sideboard game? Do you want it only going second? Or do you want it never? I've heard all 3 opinions.
Sure.
So that's an issue. It has 2 copies of Phantasmal Image. some missteps if he wants to have more room to fight over that, the gut shots and what have you. I didn't see any equipment, but he might want the Singleton Divine Offering he has as well. And I assume that he wants a second copy of Dismember with Song having shown Restoration Angel in the first game.
Sure. Looking at Simon's deck list, he has the sideboard plan of going a little bit longer, which we have not seen in, I feel about a month, 3 weeks, something of that nature. He has a Sun Titan in his sideboard. He has 2 Gideon Juros in his sideboard. He has 3 Phantasmal Images, and 2 Dissipates. He also has a Batter Skull, a couple of Revoke Existences, and with Daniel turning over Sword of War and Peace to Thought Scour that game, it's very possible that he boards those in. He also has a Timely Reinforcements, and as Patrick talked about, it depends on the person you talk to on if you want to board those in. But if you're going long, I would assume that you're going to want to board them in Simon's case. And he also has one very spicy meatball with a Sunblast Angel.
That's kill all tap guys?
Yes.
It is a combo with Gideon.
It is a combo with Gideon.
You make them attack.
Okay.
Then they're tapped.
Okay.
Then all the tapped guys die.
And that's exactly why we brought Patrick into the booth. Is because
it's another combo deck.
It's about the interactions. Patrick's so smart.
Some of this stuff is pretty subtle. I freely admit that, but that is a sweet combo. Straight out of Duelist or Inquest or whatever publication is the equivalent of that nowadays.
Well, we have a younger audience, so you're speaking gibberish to them. I don't think they know what Duelist or Inquest is.
Yeah. Back in the days of the dojo, this would have been in the combo section.
Sure. Sure. You want to shave those grays out of your hair just for men. That'd be great. Yeah. But I think that Simon is going to be going a little bit. He's going to be boarding into the control deck. He has the tools to be able to do that. And we've seen other people have great success with this. It only really works when people don't know that it's coming. And I think enough time has passed where that sideboard plan was like a surprise, and then it went to being like accepted, and then it went to being prepared for, to now it's off the radar now.
Yeah.
So that it's in this particular match, this could work extremely well for Simon.
Yeah, the big question is whether or not Gardner is going to bring in his Dissipates. If he suspects Song is on a control package like you're describing, Dissipate becomes very, very good. If Song is keeping like a more conventional list, I think Dissipate is not very good in the Delver Mirror match normally, and it's certainly gotten a lot worse from Cavern of Souls.
Yes.
Because a lot of the stuff that you could even theoretically dissipate are the 3 and 4 mana creatures, and now that isn't even guaranteed to work anymore.
Sure, and especially what happened in Game 1, if you remember, Simon played a Cavern of Souls Naming Angel for Restoration Angel. So Daniel knows that Simon has Cavern of Souls in his deck, which would make him want to sideboard and dissipate even less.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how things go. These Delver Mirrors, they're always super complicated because you don't know what you want to sideboard in, you don't know what you want to sideboard out. Some people swear by boarding Mana Leak out. Some people think you're crazy if you board it out. So there are so many things that you have to play around. Every turn presents a new challenge for the players. So we're going to see what happens. Now, what's probably going to happen is that one of the players is going to mulligan to 5, and that guy's going to die on turn 4.
Right.
But, in a perfect world, we'll see a pretty long, drawn-out game here.
So, in my opinion, from the Delver matches that I've watched, I feel like Mana Leak is something that you may want if your deck is soft to Geist of Saint Traft otherwise, and pretty bad outside of that.
Sure. It's very interesting because, you have these Phantasmal Images that take care of Geist as well, so you want to maybe lean on those a little bit and not on Mana Leak, but...
Yeah,
there's so many different ways you can go,
and a lot of it is just dependent on how your opponent is configured. A lot of these card values fluctuate a lot depending on what's in your opponent's deck too. So you're always somewhat guessing about exactly how you want to be set up. Sure,
and what makes this matchup so interesting too is because if you play in a red-green mirror, you're probably going to have a good idea of what, let's say, 57 of the person's cards are. There's no real wiggle room in red-green. Maybe they have 2 Wolfir Silver Hearts instead of 3, and then that one spot would be a Thragtusk, something of that nature. In Delver, the deck lists are all so different.
All right,
you see a turn 1 gut shot taking care of Simon's Delver.
Mm-hmm.
So Daniel is going to just pass back, no Ponder or any cantripping or a Delver for him on his turn 1. Which is pretty good for Simon because assuming that he's boarding into the long plan,
yes,
this is kind of going in exactly what he wants to be doing, which is land go.
Although he's still missing white mana.
No real action over here.
No cantrips? What's going on here?
Delver sequence.
I think Daniel passed turns 2 through 4 with Mana Leak up instead of playing his Delver. And then played on the 4th turn so he couldn't get leaked.
Sure. Well, all is going to be revealed right now. He's going to snag that right now. It's an interesting time to snag. Because now he can cast Restoration Angel. I guess it can get leaked.
Well, in the leak, yeah. And Gardner's whole play has been playing around Mana Leak this whole time.
Sure.
So I'd be surprised if he just ran it in like this.
Interesting. Leaking there, and now he's going to have all the information. This is where things get kind of tough for Simon. I would have probed first, just so I have my information before I attack. Because, I mean, it's free. You want the info. You don't know what he can have. But now this is where things are going to be. Yeah, the jig is up.
Yeah, a bunch of white cards.
Yeah. A bunch of white cards and no cantrips.
It seems like Sung might have kept a sketchy hand. I mean, unless his draws were like Gideon, unless, you know, maybe he's drawn 2 Gideons in the first 3 turns or something like that here, but...
Sure, but I mean, I don't really like, assuming that he is sideboarding into the control plan, which it looks as though he is, I don't think that you can keep a hand that's based around Delver flipping.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't think that's part of your plan, is to do that. You want the game to be long and drawn out, and you don't want to turn his gut shots on.
All right, so he's going to snag. Counter Souls on Angel, pretty ideal. Oh, I guess he's setting it to human.
Yeah, he's setting it to human. Okay. Snapcaster Mage, maybe a little gut shot.
Okay. I guess he has to do that to play around Restoration Angel. Like ideally, you'd rather just fire that Snapcaster off for another cantrip, like get your probe back, but to throw to Restoration Angel might be too much.
We're going to get in for 2 here, and then he can play his Delver post if he'd like to, or if he has a land, he can play land Restoration Angel, or 2 more Delvers.
Oh boy.
This can get ugly very, very quickly. You know, this is one of the things that is dangerous about boarding into the white plan, because when you do that, you know, you only have 8 sources of white mana to begin with, and he also has a plane, so he has 9. But when you play 3 Caverner Souls, you kind of skimp on some of the planes that you're playing in order for some of your spells not to be countered. As we see Snapcaster Mage going on the stack here for Simon. So, you know, it's not out of the question to not be able to find the white mana, because it's not like you have a ton.
Yeah.
And Mutagenic Growth is going to strike again. And Snag is going to do that. And then we are going to Snapcaster for a Mana Leak to counter that.
All right, a somewhat confusing but short combat there.
Yes. And so right now, if you're Simon, you need running white sources right now, and they have to not be Seachrome Coast.
Yeah, you're drawing pretty slim.
And he also gets into the situation now that because, like I said, the way that his mana base is constructed, I think the last thing that you want to be doing is pondering for white sources. I don't think you want to be pondering for Seachrome Coast or pondering for Glacial Fortress, ideally. No flip for Delver, but he is still under the gun, and he is still on
I think he just threw another Snapcaster Mage, which is, you know, still a fine draw step.
Yes. And he still does have a Restoration Angel in his hand. Draw a card. Can Simon muster anything to get back into this game? Vapor Snag on his turn. We might as well try Restoration Angel and blink it.
And there's a concession. Yep. Pretty fast and bloody games there. Daniel Gardner winning 2 games to 0.
And you know, obviously Simon sideboard into the control plan, and that's kind of the risk that you take when you do that. You know, you're trying to play with, you build your mana base to play regular Delver in game 1, and then you can't sideboard appropriately to play control Delver because your mana doesn't allow that. Because it's so important, and you're leaning so heavily on your white cards to win you the game that if you aren't able to cast them on time, you're not going to win.
Right. It feels like you need to make more concessions to your mana base, your default mana base, if you're going to go, like, can you afford 2 copies of Moorland Haunt? I don't know. Like, maybe that should be another Plains instead of 2 copies, you know what I mean?